The crystalline spires of the Galactic Council trembled as Prime Arbiter Zephyra Voss materialized at the emergency assembly podium, her translucent form refracting the chamber's emergency lighting into fractured rainbows of alarm. Around her, representatives from 47 star systems had abandoned their usual diplomatic composure, their varied anatomies displaying universal signs of distress. The draconic clan's scales flared crimson, while the Void Syndicate's shadow forms writhed in agitation, and the Plasma Collective's energy beings flickered erratically like dying stars. Intelligence Director Kythera Nexus had requested this unprecedented gathering after her reconnaissance division intercepted surveillance data that challenged every fundamental assumption about planetary habitability classifications. The footage originated from designation Terra Prime, a world so lethally hostile that merely viewing its atmospheric composition through protective barriers had caused 3 junior analysts to require immediate medical intervention for psychological trauma. Zephyra's authority crystallized the chaotic assembly into a reluctant order as she activated the central holographic display. The 3-dimensional projection materialized Earth in all its terrifying glory. Swirling toxic storms, volcanic eruptions spewing molten death, and atmospheric readings that should have indicated a completely sterile wasteland. Instead, the planet pulsed with impossible life signatures, numbering in the billions. The first surveillance sequence began with what appeared to be a routine environmental scan, but Kythera's enhanced detection algorithms had captured something that defied every known law of biological survival. Humanoid figures moved across landscapes that would dissolve the molecular structure of most council species within seconds. These beings possessed no visible environmental suits, no bioshields, no atmospheric processors, nothing but their organic forms navigating through conditions that registered as instantly lethal on every measurement scale. Xenobiologist Vexus Hollow's analytical protocols had initially flagged the footage as corrupted data, assuming the surveillance equipment had malfunctioned. The alternative, that organic life could exist unprotected in such extremes, violated fundamental principles of evolutionary biology. Yet the evidence continued accumulating as additional monitoring stations confirmed the readings. These humans, as the species apparently designated themselves, were not merely surviving but engaging in activities that suggested they found their apocalyptic environment enjoyable. The holographic display shifted to reveal humans traversing sulfur fields, where temperatures exceeded the melting point of most starship hulls. They moved with casual confidence, their unprotected skin maintaining integrity despite exposure to atmospheric conditions that would liquefy advanced metallurgy. Environmental analyst Lyrian Phase's calculations indicated that the volcanic gases alone contained enough corrosive compounds to strip flesh from bone in milliseconds. Yet these creatures breathed the toxic atmosphere as naturally as council species processed purified environmental chambers. More disturbing footage emerged showing humans deliberately seeking exposure to their world's most dangerous phenomena. They appeared to pursue these lethal encounters for recreational purposes, engaging in activities they termed extreme sports. The surveillance captured individuals launching themselves from towering cliffs using primitive fabric wings, plunging into acidic waters populated by apex predators, and scaling vertical rock faces during toxic storm systems that generated electromagnetic pulses capable of disabling council technology. Zephyra felt her crystalline structure resonating with frequencies of disbelief as the implications cascaded through her consciousness. War Marshal Thorvin Grimscale's tactical assessments had always assumed that any species capable of interstellar travel would have evolved beyond such reckless physical endangerment. Yet these humans seemed to actively court destruction, treating scenarios that would annihilate entire military divisions as entertainment. The surveillance data revealed even more unsettling patterns. Humans displayed remarkable diversity in their adaptive responses, thriving in frozen wastelands where temperatures approached absolute zero, desert regions that exceeded planetary core temperatures, and underwater environments under crushing pressures that would compress most council species into molecular paste. Their biological resilience appeared limitless, their psychological response to mortal danger completely inverted from every known survival instinct. Kythera's intelligence networks had detected signs of rapid technological advancement despite their apparent comfort with primitive conditions. Deep space monitoring stations reported unusual energy signatures emanating from Terra Prime. Controlled nuclear reactions occurring not in heavily shielded military facilities, but in civilian population centers. These humans were harnessing stellar-level energy sources for domestic purposes, while simultaneously maintaining biological systems that required no technological augmentation to survive their Deathworld habitat. The revelation that shattered Zephyra's remaining composure came when long-range sensors detected multiple vessels approaching Council territory. The spacecraft exhibited propulsion technologies that Council archives couldn't classify, their hull compositions apparently requiring no radiation shielding for interstellar travel. If humans could survive extended exposure to cosmic radiation using only their biological systems, their expansion capabilities were beyond calculation. Reconnaissance reports painted an increasingly terrifying picture. Human colony ships were already seeding nearby star systems, their occupants apparently viewing the vacuum of space as merely another challenging environment to conquer. Unlike Council species who require generations of terraforming to establish sustainable colonies, humans seem capable of adapting to any planetary conditions through sheer biological tenacity. The most chilling discovery emerged from behavioral analysis. These seemingly indestructible beings also demonstrated complex social cooperation, artistic creativity, and technological innovation that suggested intelligence far exceeding their apparent primitive survival methods. They had developed sophisticated civilizations while simultaneously maintaining the physiological capabilities to thrive in conditions that would exterminate advanced technological societies. Zephyra's tactical projections revealed scenarios that kept her consciousness cycling through recursive loops of disbelief. If humans considered Terra Prime's apocalyptic conditions their baseline environment, what challenges would actually threaten them? Council defensive systems were designed to protect against species that required environmental controls, technological augmentation, and predictable survival responses. These humans represented variables that could not be calculated. The surveillance footage continued revealing impossibilities. Humans swimming alongside oceanic predators that could dismember Council war machines, children playing in environments where atmospheric pressure would crush starship hulls, elderly individuals gardening in soil contaminated with compounds that registered as biological warfare agents. Their casual interaction with their world's deadliest phenomena suggested that Council perceptions of lethality were fundamentally flawed. Intelligence intercepts indicated that humans had classified their own planet's dangers into categories ranging from mild inconvenience to interesting challenge. Activities that would require full military mobilization for Council species were apparently weekend recreational pursuits for human civilians. Their psychological profiles suggested they actively sought increasingly dangerous experiences, treating survival scenarios as opportunities for personal growth rather than situations to avoid. Zephyra realized that first contact protocols were completely inadequate for entities whose baseline capabilities exceeded Council emergency response parameters. Every diplomatic framework assumed species would share fundamental survival instincts, yet humans appeared to find mortal peril invigorating rather than terrifying. Their expansion into Council space was not an invasion in any recognizable form. It was the natural progression of beings who viewed the entire galaxy as potential habitat. The assembled representatives finally grasped the true magnitude of their situation. They were not dealing with another technological civilization seeking resources or territory. They faced apex biological predators who had evolved beyond the concept of hostile environments, whose recreational activities included scenarios that would constitute extinction events for established galactic powers. As emergency session alerts continued cascading through Council networks, Zephyra's final assessment crystallized into a single, inescapable conclusion. Humanity represented an evolutionary endpoint that challenged the fundamental assumptions underlying galactic civilization. They were not conquerors in any traditional sense. They were simply beings who had transcended the limitations that confined every other known species to carefully controlled environments. The question that would haunt Council deliberations for generations echoed through Zephyra's consciousness with terrifying clarity. If surviving on Terra Prime represented humanity's natural state, if their casual dismissal of lethal environments was merely their baseline existence, then what other capabilities remained hidden within their seemingly unlimited adaptive potential? The galaxy had discovered not just another species, but entities who might represent the next phase of evolutionary development, one that rendered every existing paradigm of survival, technology, and civilization completely obsolete. In the growing silence of the council chamber, as representatives contemplated scenarios that exceeded their conceptual frameworks, one inescapable truth emerged. They were no longer the dominant forms of intelligence in the galaxy. They had become the primitives, and humanity's true capabilities remained an unknown quantity that could reshape reality itself.